Yeah, it was. Okay. It was. Notice where mine is because I have a tendency to bellow. Yours is. Yeah, it's that one up there that's live, and they still have to turn it down. And our sign-up sheet, is there a sign-up sheet over there? Sure is. I think so. Well, then that's it. I know. All set, folks?
A lovely meeting with Patty at AWS earlier this week.
Oh, good. Yeah, she's a sharp woman. They'll have to tell me.
Yeah, I'll give you the details on that.
All right, well, good afternoon. It's July 22nd, and according to my watch, it's darn near 3 o'clock. We're going to be a little flexible today since we don't have a quorum yet. We're expecting 2 other trustees to come in. So we will not follow the agenda as printed, but we'll move to item 6, presentation on audio reading services. George?
I am thrilled to be here. I'm George Johnson Coffey, and I'm the manager of the audio reading service. And my slideshow is going to start any minute. Yeah, there it is. So we are out on DeSalle Boulevard. And I know the last time that the board met there, I know Kent and I know Ben took a tour. So I hope everybody else can have a chance to come and see us. One of the things that's important to me when people walk into DeSalle, because we often act as the reception area, is that people feel welcomed. And one of the ways we do that is with candy. So I brought candy for everybody.
I'm glad people are late.
Yeah. One of the things too with the audio reading service, just a little bit of history. We were actually founded in 1979 as the Northeast Indiana Radio Reading Service, also called NEARS. And at that point, it was a separate nonprofit. It was housed in the Little Turtle branch of the library, and library staff, senior staff, and were either on the board or helped volunteer. So it was always, the library always had its hand in what was going on. And in about 2004, when renovation started, the board of NEARS at the time came to the library and said, we're not doing well financially. Could you please take us under your wing? So since 2004, we've been a part of the Allen County Public Library. So I want to talk a little bit about what our purpose is. So what our purpose is, hang on. I don't know what's going on. This is our purpose. Our purpose is for, we meet the library's goal is enriching community through lifelong learning and discovery. And we do audio readings of different materials for people who have visual and physical learning and challenges to reading. Just like somebody who might be blind could not see our purpose, somebody who might have macular degeneration couldn't, and somebody who has cataracts couldn't really see our purpose or read our purpose. So if you're readers and you love to read and you look at that and you can't read, it's kind of frustrating. So with our purpose, one of the things that we really emphasize is local information. We read the Journal-Gazette Live every morning. We read other local information like the obituaries and Sunday ads. We read the weekend, different events going on. We do People, Places, and Things, which are magazines like Fort Wayne. Because when you think about if you lose your sight, it's often that local information that you lose, that you can't hear or read. These are just some of the things that we read. In addition to the Journal-Gazette, we read all the local area newspapers every day. We read And we've done surveys with our listeners to see what they would like to hear. And so we have a number of volunteers, and I'll talk about volunteers later, that come in and read these. Some of the programs are a half hour long or some are an hour. And we try to look at, in addition to the local information, just materials of interest that cover anything from LGBTQ. We just have El Mexicano, we just started that last May. Just a variety, and there's a lot more. And at the end, I have a handout that gives you some additional information of the things that we read. But there's a number of ways that listeners can hear us. The library loans out a radio free of charge. You don't have to live in Allen County. You don't have to have a library card, and you can keep the radio as long as you need to. That's one way. And also we have a podcast page. Everything that we record, we put up on our podcast page, and it's sort of an encore production. A lot of people listen this way. We have people all over the country that listen to us, and you're going to hear about some of those people a little bit later. We also, this is one of those things that makes no sense. It's very counterintuitive, but it works. If you go to channel 39.4 and go to the SAP language setting and change it from English to French, you'll hear our broadcast in English. And we have a number of listeners that listen this way. Bruce Haynes, who's the general manager, who I'm sure all of you know, he's one of our readers. And when television went digital all those years ago, and we had to buy new televisions, every channel has a secondary audio program with it. And so he said, PBS 39.4's French station is just there doing nothing. Let's put a feed in. And so people listen to our program that way. We also stream on our webpage. You can listen to us live, which is how I listen to it all day. We also, if you have a smart speaker, you can say, Alexa, play the audio reading service. And we have a number of listeners that listen that way, especially in some of our outlying areas where the radio doesn't reach. People will listen to it through a smart speaker. We also, you can download an app. And I've been talking with Stephanie. I'm hoping we can maybe develop our own app. Right now we do it through Zero, and it's a little convoluted how you get to us. And there's some designs that other services have that are just really great apps that you just push a button and you can hear us. My staff, they can't be here today because they're running the show. This is Mark Leahy, and he is our broadcast coordinator. It was actually his idea to do a banner to have like the logos of the things that we read, because when I go to health fairs, people see that and they come up and they go, what's this all about? And so it really opens the door to talk about what we do. Mark also, he does a lot of MCs with different fundraising events with different community organizations. He also performs at the Trap Door. So if you go there, you've probably heard him. This is Chad Butterball, who does a lot of different things. His main duties is administrative assistant. He kind of keeps me on my toes and keeps things going. He has a theater background, and we do audio radio shows each year, and he's the director for that. And it kind of engages the volunteers a little bit more, and our listeners enjoy the radio plays that we put on, and that's him directing. This is Elizabeth Barlow. She's our newest member. She'll be here a year next month. She's our part-time sound production person. She's also an artist. She's going to be focus in the arts on PBS. She's going to be highlighted a little bit, I think next month. So this Valentine's Day, we sent Valentine cards that said, here's what we have to say: squeeze that pandemic stress away, have a happy Valentine's Day. And we sent stress balls that were Valentine. So she designed our card for us. And these are our volunteers. We have about 100 volunteers. We could not do what we do without volunteers. If we had to hire people, we'd have to hire about three full-time people to do what the volunteers do. And on about a monthly average, they contribute about $5,000 of added value to the library. So they're very, very, very valuable. This is on our webpage, lists all the ways that you can listen. You can get an application for our radio. You can also, there's a hot link to an online application, and all the other information that I talked about is on our webpage. and we estimate that we could have the potential of reaching about 80,000 people, not only with our radios and with the online, but we also have residents, and we're in the townhouse and some other local retirement communities. We're also at Parkview and some of the Lutheran facilities. If you're laying in the hospital bed and click through, you get to a radio station part in your TV, and you can hear us. The other real important thing, we are part of the International Association of Audio Information Services. There's about 80 services all around the country, and we upload all of our programming, and they download our programs all over. And I'm really proud of that because we do a really, really good job. I think we're one of the best in the country. So people all over the country hear us. And the Arizona service kind of covers the whole state. And there's a low vision cooking group that listens to our Cook's Corner program, and they get together and they listen and they cook our recipes together. So, and the other listener comments. Now, I could not bring listeners in here today, but I have 3 of my volunteers who are going to stand in, and they are going to just share some of the comments. There's a variety of things that I hear from our listeners, either by phone or in the community or by email. So,
Hello. My name is Cassandra Falk, and it's my pleasure to read for you the following comment. I'm Angie from Ellicott City, Maryland. My husband, David, is blind and a retired physicist. We were excited to hear your recordings of science news on your podcast page.
I'm John Berger, a volunteer, and I'm Imad. I live in Egypt. I want to give more appreciation for the audio reading service. Thank for all your service. Give more learning English, special for people who can't pay money for learning your service. Give more culture for your country. I am very thanks for yours.
Hello, I'm Adrienne Booker, and I'm a volunteer. I'm Ellen. My mom, Mary Virginia, is a listener in Fort Wayne. Your service fills and fulfills my mom's day. She appreciates it. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate your service because it improves my mom's quality of life.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to say anything more because the listeners have spoken, and this is contact information. I have additional handouts that I'll give you. And thank you for having me. I've loved this. Please come out and visit us. I would love to have you.
Thank you.
One of the things that I'm giving you at the beginning, when it looked like everything was blurred and I didn't know what I was doing, there's a sight impairment simulator that gives you an idea of what it's like to have some vision issues.
Thank you very much.
George, in your PowerPoint, there was a dog pictured
Oh,
on the
yes.
volunteer page.
The cat woman would notice that.
I did, yes.
Yes, that's Molly, and Molly belonged to one of the women, Diana. Diana is actually part of the PAWS program, and she does therapy dogs,
Oh.
and so she brings her dog in, and she actually it's therapy for us too. So that dog knows I'm not a dog person. I can tell you that.
They
They
always
can
do.
spot 'em a mile away.
Oh my gosh, all my staff people are dog people, and that dog knows that. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. Any questions?
Oh yes, questions? Other questions?
I do actually. What more can we do to support you? Because I love this service. So, are you getting support you need, or are we getting the word out enough to people?
Yeah, that's a very good one. Stephanie and I have talked about a marketing plan. I mean, that's probably my biggest challenge is people don't know about us, because when you think about what we do and what the library does, you don't put the two together. So Stephanie's going to be helping me with a really pretty good marketing plan, because there's eye doctors, there's Alzheimer's support groups, there's all kind retirement communities. I mean, there's just all kinds of, and there's so many ways that we can serve people in all these different pockets of population in the community. So that's my goal, is the marketing plan and get the word out. So thanks, Marty.
Do you need more volunteers?
Right now, yes, I need a Sunday Journal Gazette reader and a Time Magazine reader. I actually have 2 interviews tomorrow, and that's a really good question because I vet our volunteers. There's an audition, a reading audition, and an interview. And to date, I've interviewed 26 people and only brought 6 people on. So it's sort of a high bar. And there's a lot of different things too, but we do need volunteers. That's why the volunteers we have are so good. So yeah, we probably can always use volunteers. There's every once in a while we have a stretch that we don't need any, and people typically leave, either they move or the people that are leaving now have to care for older parents. So it's usually a health related reason, either themselves or their parents or family members. So.
Are there age requirements on your volunteers?
I typically say 18. Some of our youngest is 22, our oldest is 84. Some of our material that we read is kind of dense and a little mature. So I kind of set it at 18 because you're reading things that sometimes younger people just don't grasp, or it's kind of shocking. Or I'm not that we read really bad things, but there's sort of maturity level. So like 18.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Well done. Well, let's go back, since we now have a quorum, to the roll call. Sharon made it over here on her scooter, I think.
No
Uh,
comment.
And Marty walked. Okay. So let me call the roll since Gloria isn't here. Sharon Tucker,
Present.
Kent Castleman,
Present.
Marty Cipher,
I'm present.
and I'm present. Paul is on his way, and Jim and Gloria won't be attending. So we do have a roll call, and we have for a quorum. So I'll entertain a motion that we adopt the agenda,
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please.
Before I do want to modify that agenda.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry. One of the modification needs to take place is under the approval of minutes, item B, the approval of claims of June 12th. We need to strike that. We are actually going to approve those today, so they wouldn't be part of the minutes approval. They're going to actually be approved today, as well as the claims of the 22nd.
I will accept that modification on my motion.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the modified agenda, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay, and it passes. I don't see anyone from the public here, but just as a matter of record, we do have a sign-up sheet right by the water table. And if someone comes in and wants to talk, we'll ask them to sign up. That'll be during the public comment section. So David, now we have the approval of the minutes, and the agenda should reflect 3A, the minutes of the regular session of June 24th, 2021. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And
Second.
and we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. And now, David, it's your turn.
All right, on the financial report, just one line to report, and that is going and spending ahead of schedule. And unfortunately, that's the unemployment line. The claims that are being filed, they're a little higher this year. Of course, that line only has a $2,000 budget, so it doesn't take much to throw it out of whack. But hopefully that will get better. We're just, having to process. These are all what the state requests us for reimbursement for anybody who's claiming unemployment that has worked at the library. So we'll bring some money in from the salary line because it's the natural offset. People, if they're not working, then they're not drawing salary. So the salary line is going to have extra money in it. So that's the only line that's overspending that's new at this point. News and notes, the most recent is the State Board of Accounts. We had the exit conference on Monday. Ben was in attendance on that. Everything went well on that. In fact, I just got the word about an hour ago from the manager of the audit. We are cleared to file the report with the GFOA for the consideration of the award of excellence in the financial reporting like we do in all years for the last 28 years. Plus, the only thing we're waiting on is the State Board of Accounts, because if you recall, we had Crow LLC was the auditors this year. They outsourced, the State Board outsourced the audit. They are reviewing the report right now and will give a letter that says, yes, we concur with this audit, work from Crow. Once we have that, we can officially say that the audit is completed and we can file it with the state. But as Ben could testify, things, went well, and there were no items that they had to report. Everything was in line internal control wise and from the finances. So we were very happy with that. And once that gets officially filed, I'll let you all know, and we can distribute copies of it as well. But it'll always be on our web page as soon as they give us the go ahead. So that was great to get that completed. The next item obviously is the budget. That process is currently taking place. We did, as I noted in the report, having still a lot of information coming in. The growth quotient was issued. That went to 4.3% this year from 4.2 last year. Again, that's the amount we can raise the levy, but it's also the cap of our expenditure budget that we can raise without having to move into a binding review situation with the county council. So we're continuing to get the revenue numbers. State tax caps came in. They're actually going up a little bit from the final 2021 number. Not much, but still well lower than what their anticipated number was when they reported 2021. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that number come down. It isn't determined until later in the year when all the budgets are finalized and the assessed values are completed. With the budget process underway, noted the third point is there's an Finance and Personnel Committee meeting that's scheduled for August 24th. That's where we'll have most of the information completed at that point for the budget, and I'll bring the proposals to you at that point of what we're thinking of doing with the budget lines for next year. As well as that's where we'll start talking about the different changes and potential changes to the compensation and benefit plans for next year. So Susan and I and all are currently working through a lot of those items. Obviously, we still have a third year of a Pontifex study that will go into place as well as other changes. So, but how am I doing on the filibuster? Good so far?
You're talking quite a bit.
I know, it's what I do best. But anyway, I'll stop at that point. But those are the main news and notes items, but I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion. We accept the financial report for June.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. Let's move to the claims. Anything unusual?
No, these are all the usual claims. We have a whole month's worth. Again, these will be the claims of July 12th and the 22nd. So I'll bring these around for signature. In fact, what's today's largest claim would be electrical service as usual, and then the consulting fees for the master plan, library materials, self-insurance charges. It's pretty much the standard.
Same
Yep.
old same.
Same old, I like that.
All right.
Consistency, when you're an accountant, consistency is real good.
Okay, I'll accept a motion that we approve the claims.
So moved.
And the second, any discussion? All in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. And that too passes. We've had our presentation. Thank you, George. George left, okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to committee reports, the capital project.
You mind doing it, Ken?
I can do it.
I'm going to pass to Kent because I just came from court and I'm not quite as prepared as I should be.
Yeah, that's fine. We've had a lot of activity obviously going on with the capital project and the facility master plan. So excited to be working through the community engagement phase. And so that's been a positive on that end of it. We had a series of roundtable, I guess, in-person community conversations is what they were called from that standpoint. And there were 5 different sessions touching on different points of the strategic facility spaces with the staff, and working on getting staff input into the process has been very important as we've had conversations with them to make sure that their space is what they feel it needs to be on that end of it as well. I personally participated in 2 of the what were we calling
Focus
them?
groups.
Focus groups. Thank you. I knew I'm trying to get to that word, but 2 of the focus groups, and it's just good to be hearing from some of our close stakeholders, and then the open public sessions as well. And we currently have a survey that's available on the website, and that's going through the end of July. So we encourage everybody to take time to go out and look at that. And if I can see where that number is, I believe we had over 549 responses so far as of 7/20. So a couple days ago, we were over 500. So we'd love to see thousands in that from that standpoint with our population the way it is. So I just encourage anybody listening to take time to read that, go out and do that survey and give some response on that end. And then there'll be continued marketing to support that as well. In the future here, the consultants will be coming back here at the end of August. After the survey closes and everything's tabulated, they'll be coming back to give those results, to share what we learned from the public and what they want to see. And that'll be shared with the various stakeholders involved in the decision-making on where the plan is going at that end. And then we will start, as a board, start hearing back from them in September to start giving some highlights as to what's going on. And then they'll working toward, I guess I could say it that way, the final approval of that facility master plan being at the end of October, at that point. So what did I miss? Anything?
I think the only thing I would want to let the other board members know that right now we actually intend the 2 main people doing the facility master plan to actually attend the August 26th board meeting in person. Probably part of that might be executive session, and part of it will be the regular board meeting as well. Just so everybody has a chance to meet with them as they're getting the results and then formulating the actual plan. After that, they may be attending virtually, because I'm not sure we want to pay for them to come in for in-person meetings, but I thought it was important that they meet sooner rather than later with everyone.
Good.
But otherwise, I think that was it. Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Good report, fellas. Any questions? Okay, let's move to the director's report.
Great. Thank you, Ben. I submitted a written report, a few highlights from it. I wanted to share that at its June 25th meeting, the Indiana Library and Historical Board found us to be in compliance with the public library standards for 2020. So we were pleased about that. Also, I wanted to share that we will be having a table in the nonprofit resource area of Fort Wayne Pride this weekend. Also, I have a little late breaking news. Kurt has some news regarding the Roland Center that he would like to share, if he would like to come forward.
Thank you very much, Susan. It gives me great pleasure to let you know that the long-awaited computer switch chip arrived unceremoniously at our subcontractor's doorstep in 2 boxes, and it has been installed in the rack, and now comes basically 3 weeks of 4 different technology companies hooking all of the cables and wire and actual devices to that particular switch. And we're pushing toward mid-August having the final commissioning of the virtual exhibits. So we're very, very pleased to hear that, as the world continues to suffer from a shortage of computer chips. And that's why there aren't new lights in the Great Hall yet, because believe it or not, those need computer chips, and those are also on back order. But we're really excited that a lot of work that we've been waiting to have done on the cabling technology side of things can actually start and move forward with some good pace. So we're excited about that, and a lot of the planning work that we've done is really showing some nice efforts right now, some nice results as well.
Thank you.
any questions?
Where
from-
did it come from, out of curiosity?
I do not know that. That's a great question, Ben. It came to one of the technology subcontractors, a local firm, ASG, and all I've heard is West Coast. So I don't know how far
Far
west is. I'm thinking to myself, California, but I could be wrong. It was,
Just curious.
It felt like it came from heaven, I am
yeah,
sure.
exactly, Susan, exactly.
The
Yeah.
west coast of heaven.
Manna from heaven, yes.
Okay, well, thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, sir.
And a few more late breaking news. I had shared with you in an email earlier that Larae Bain has been selected as our new HR director. She will be moving here from Clarksville, Tennessee, but she has Hoosier roots. She was born and raised in Indy, an IU grad, and her husband is a Fort Wayne native, and her in-laws are still in town. So they are very excited to relocate back to Indiana. Also, on the employment front, some sad news, and she's sitting over there in the corner. Our own Josette Jordan is retiring as of September 30th.
That is sad. I'm not clapping for that.
And she
Sad for us,
does,
but good for her.
and she does the Queen's wave over there. We knew this was coming. She had the grace to give us several years' notice, actually 2 years' notice, but this one's going to hurt really bad, and we just are going to miss her so much. We'll see her here for a few more months, but just wanted to give you a heads up. So that is a position that we will be recruiting for shortly, but there's no replacing Josette at all. So
Well, thank you for your years of service.
And also, we will also be recruiting soon for a new marketing manager. We have that vacancy available now, so you will be seeing ads for that as well. Also wanted to share that we're thrilled to announce that Rock the Plaza does rock again for 2021. We will be starting August 14th. I'm looking at Stephanie and she's nodding, for 3 Saturdays. And kudos to Norm and the Access Fort Wayne crew for putting this together in very quick fashion. We know the community's excited. We're excited. It's going to be a good time. Also wanted to share that we are exploring the possibilities for getting ARPA funds for the library. And ARPA is American Rescue Plan Act. That is the coronavirus relief funds that are available for local government agencies. There is a grant opportunity through the Indiana State Library that several of us are going to be on a webinar tomorrow to find out more information about how to apply for those funds. We also put in what I'll call an application to apply for RUDI funds regionally. We did submit notice that we would like to be considered for those funds if they were available for us. And finally, wanted to share that with all of your permission, we would like to get back to having our meetings out in the branches as normally scheduled. And if it works for all of you, that would mean that in August, we would be out at Georgetown.
And would they be taped and then YouTube?
Yes, same practice would happen.
Okay.
And our consultants have said that they would be perfectly fine coming out to Georgetown to do their presentation.
No, I for one welcome that. I think it is time that we went out to the branches again. I always like that part, and I think it's important that we do that. So.
Yeah.
Excited to host us.
Any questions?
Now I just have to remember it.
Yes, yes, please remind us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, no, good report. Thank you so much. You have a sheet with micro printing on it.
I should have brought magnifying glasses. I'm trying to rival Dave's spreadsheets. I really apologize for that.
I think Dave still has you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
So what is this about?
So this is about getting our hours restored to their pre-COVID levels. And I had sent this in an email earlier this week. There is one small change. I apologize. I had a typo regarding Little Turtle. I had some numbers transposed, but it still remains the same. What we are suggesting is that we go back to the hours that we were pre-COVID with 2 exceptions, and those exceptions are Monroeville and Woodburn. Those are libraries that historically have closed for either lunch or dinner due to staffing shortages. And that is just not serving us very well anymore. The patrons would like to be able to get library service during those hours. And also, it's even a challenge for our staff to get their full dinner and lunch breaks because patrons are in there wanting service and they're not able to close as quickly as they're scheduled to because people want service. So it just doesn't seem right for anybody involved. So we would like to address that. So we are recommending that they actually get bumped up a little from pre-COVID levels. Previously, they were both at 41 hours a week. We are recommending that they go up to 48. We are going to request that we would then add some part-time staff to help them fill in those hours. Dave assures me that this is something that can be absorbed in our salary budget line as it is. We also had made plans earlier in the year to hire a 5th floating librarian. So currently we have 4 floating librarians. They do that. They just float around to the various branches to fill in for vacations and to fill in for outreach opportunities and sickness and things like that. We had already planned and are in the interview process of hiring a 5th floater, and we do plan on that 5th floater to be concentrated in the Monroeville Woodburn area to help them with some staffing issues.
And I'm in favor of this, but the net effect fiscally, financially?
Yes, so the net effect would be around $91,000 a year. That also includes that 5th floater that's a full-time position that we had planned on.
Questions?
I move for the acceptance of the modified hours.
I'll second.
Okay, is there discussion?
I do have one question. When will it start?
I'm glad you asked that. We're recommending it starts the week of September 13th, which is the first full week after the Labor Day holiday.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So is this based on, I mean, how do you gauge demand to come up with these other than the lunch part? How did you look at that?
For
And-
Monroeville and Woodburn?
Well, for all of them. I mean, it looks like you're just going back for some of the busier, I mean, Beloit and DuPont,
Mhm.
looks like you're just going back to pre-COVID. I
Right.
guess my question probably should have been, is that enough? Do you think that that's the proper amount? Should we be doing more, et cetera?
We think it is enough for now. It's a pretty significant increase from what we're doing now with the COVID hours. Of course, once we are through the facility master plan, we think that's going to dictate a lot of staffing expenses. So we do want to get that information back, and then we will probably be revisiting these hours to see if they need to be changed when we figure out the direction that we'll be going with the facility master plan.
So we do, at least historically, have done probably as many surveys as any entity I've ever been involved with.
We love a survey, yes.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's fine. But do those surveys ever address the hours? Just as an example, opening at 10 o'clock. Do
Right.
you ever hear people say, well, we'd rather you're open at 8 o'clock or something along that line?
I have not heard that specifically, but I can almost promise that in the over 500 surveys we've received so far, we're going to get some comments about hours.
So are
And-
there questions in there about the hours?
There are not questions about hours specifically, but there is an open-ended question, give us your thoughts. And when we ask people for their thoughts, they often respond with information about what hours they would like to see. I will say that we are getting feedback, and I've received several comment cards about the hours at Maine, because in COVID times, we've been opening at 10, and that is something that a lot of patrons would like for us to address and get back to that 9 o'clock hour, specifically for our genealogy patrons who like to get in here really early to start their research.
Yeah, it just seems to me, again, given all the surveys we do, you might, and you're right, it's great that they will make those comments kind of randomly in the survey, but I think if you were to actually ask the specific question, probably get more feedback, more data to take a look at. So I would suggest at some point possibly doing that. I'm all for, the more surfaces, the more we're
Absolutely.
open,
Mhm.
the better. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other questions? If not, then we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by nay. And we now have expanded hours. Are there any items of new business that should come before the body? All right, anyone from the public here? I see no one. Well, then I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Before we make that motion, Mr. President, I'd just like to give kudos to both Stephanie and Kurt for the opening exhibit in the Cruel Room on the Voices by DJ Eclipse. Beautiful opening that they had, beautiful setup, and it was really, really well attended. So kudos to you guys for the work that you put in on that. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we are adjourned.